Hi everybody, this is the Diabetes at University channel, and today I would like to talk a little bit about a debate that we had at the Psychosocial Aspects of Diabetes conference this week in Germany. And it's sort of like, a thing that we discussed. Here's the point. So is it the case that with the increased use of advanced technology in diabetes care, that you need to maybe you don't need to reflect psychologically so much on it? So, for example, because the psychological burden of diabetes becomes less. So, does the increased use of technology decrease the need to, say, reflect on your feelings about diabetes? For example, because the burden of diabetes can be lessened through the technology. So that was the debate that we had, and you can have different viewpoints on this. And actually, I wonder what viewpoint you have about this. For example, imagine you have someone with diabetes who you know is doing carb counting and is looking after how much insulin to take and calculates it all. That's a lot of work, and so this person might say, well, gee, I sometimes I just feel it's so much to deal with, because it's sometimes, as people say, it's another job that you have next to your normal job or whatever you do in life. And so imagine then that this person gets a hybrid closed loop system that is just working really well, where the only thing they might need to enter is maybe what when they eat something, they put it on their app, and then the system figures out everything itself. Now you hear from people who use, say, an Omnipod 5 or one of the other systems like the Medtronic and what have you. Of course, there are many more systems now on the market, and I'm not actually promoting any of these systems here, but you hear from people that they say, well, yeah, this works really well for me. And you hear these stories of people say, well, look, I sometimes feel like I can just forget about my diabetes because the system, the technology has taken it over. And that means, obviously, automatically, that the burden of the diabetes, the cognitive load, as we might talk, is lower. So, yeah, so I think maybe there's a good argument to make for that. But on the other hand, it's still, of course, even with a hybrid closed loop system, you still have to do stuff, right? So it's not. So, for example, if you have it, you every so many days you need to change the insulin. You need to actually also check whether it actually works the way you think it should work. You still need to, depending on the system, I suppose, you need to enter information in it and so on. So it's not that you're free from diabetes. There's still a lot to do. But it might. So this is interesting. So what is your view on this, especially if you have maybe a hybrid closed loop system? So How did that actually change your life and your sort of like your the time that you spent on thinking about diabetes? Has that changed it, and do you feel therefore that it is psychologically less of a sort of like a burden on you just because it's less work? And when we have less work, then you might be feeling less stressed. So that is the question that we debated, and of course you have different viewpoints, but don't forget, at this conference pretty much everybody has a background in psychology, so people of course feel that psychology and psychological reflection and support is actually really important. But it is an interesting point to reflect on. So I would like to invite you as the viewer to say what you think about it, and tell us what you are. Do you have diabetes, or are you maybe a healthcare professional who is seeing patients who got the system, and that they changed their sort of like the way they feel. Right. Okay. So that's the topic, and I'm really curious what you have to say about it. And I look forward to reading comments under the video. But I know people do not always make a comment on the video. But if you have a view on this, please do, because it's actually nice to read these comments, and it can be helpful for other people who also watch this channel to listen about this. So yeah, thank you, and see you next time. Bye.